Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. On behalf of the News First, the voice of the people, I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
12th year Victory Day commemoration ceremony to be held under the auspices of the President and the Prime Minister today. Can the perpetrators of the April 21st attacks be punished? Debate on the Port City Special Economic Commission bill commences in Parliament. Advanced ICU ventilator system donated by Gammadda to Gampaha Hospital.
The 12th year Victory Day commemoration ceremony remembering the patriotic soldiers who lost their lives in the 30 years long war will be held at the National War Memorial in Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte at 4:15 p.m. today. The ceremony will be presided by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, commanders of the Tri-Forces, Inspector General of Police and soldiers. The commemoration ceremony is organized by the Ranaviru Seva Authority under the supervision of the Ministry of Defence. The ceremony is organized to commemorate 23,962 soldiers from the Army, 1,160 from the Navy, 443 from the Air Force, 2,598 from the Sri Lanka Police and 456 from the Civil Defence Force who lost their lives in the 30-year-long war, which ended when the Sri Lanka Armed Forces defeated LTTE in May 2009. The commemoration ceremony is organized by adhering to health guidelines due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 1,968 Navy personnel have been promoted to commemorate the 12th Victory Day celebrations. Sri Lanka Navy said 1,968 naval personnel, including 64 naval officers and 1,904 sailors, were promoted and advanced to their next higher ranks and grades today on the occasion of the 12th Victory Day anniversary of the liberation of motherland from brutalities of the LTTE that lasted for nearly 30 years by a humanitarian operation. Accordingly, a total of 64 officers, specifically 4 officers to the rank of captain, 11 officers to the rank of commander, 27 officers to the rank of lieutenant commander, 1 officer to the rank of lieutenant and 21 officer cadets as midshipmen were promoted on 19th of May 2021. The Navy stated that these promotions will be effective from today. 35 members of the Air Force have been promoted to coincide with the 12th anniversary of the war heroes' victory. Air Force media spokesman Group Captain Dushyant Vijay Singh has said the promotions were awarded to the ranks of Air Commodore, Group Captain, Squadron Leader and Flight Lieutenant. He further stated that promotions were given to remaining group of officers as well. Meanwhile, the Church of Ceylon has issued a message on the anniversary of the conclusion of the war in Sri Lanka.
The statement has been issued by the presiding Bishop of the Church of Ceylon and Bishop of Kurunaga, Right Reverend Kirti Sri Fernando and Right Reverend Dusanta Rodrigo, the Bishop of Colombo of the Church of Ceylon. It said, as we mark the anniversary of the conclusion of the war in Sri Lanka, we mourn those who lost their lives as a result of this conflict. It added that we also pray for the families of those killed and still missing in action, those who have been maimed and wounded in body and mind, those who have been made destitute, displaced and war-affected, women and children, those detained without due process, and all those still seeking truth and justice. It further added, let the final days of the war be a grim reminder to all Sri Lankans that we have an obligation to uphold freedom, equality and justice for all our brothers and sisters, and that violence in any form is not the answer to seek redress for our problems.
Meanwhile, Minister of Public Security, retired Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara, made a statement in Parliament today in regards to the investigation on the April 21st attacks.
ජනාධිපති කොමිසම් වාර්තාව නීතිපතිවරයාට මේ වසරේ පෙබරවාරි මාස ලබා දුන්නා.
The report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry was handed over to the Attorney General in February this year. Following that, from the 12th of March 2021 to the 24th of April, a police investigative team of 54 officers along with a team from the Aegis Department investigated the evidence and the facts thoroughly. This was supervised by the present Attorney General. During the investigations, some discrepancies arise. A report on these new findings was handed over to the police on the 24th of April. In order to remind the police of the report, the Attorney General resubmitted the report to the IGP on the 12th of May. By that time, the police had already completed most of the investigations and handed over the facts to the Aegis Department. They hope to send the remaining findings to the Aegis Department soon. When all the investigations are completed, the Attorney General can file cases against the guilty. 704 people have been arrested in this regard. 203 suspects are in remand custody, while 84 are on detention orders. 244 suspects are on bail and 168 are released. Indictments have been filed against 32 suspects. We appreciate the assistance and the professional commitment by the Attorney General in this regard. It is clear that the mastermind of this is Nawfur Maulavi, according to our investigations and American investigations. It was also confirmed from Zahran's wife, Sadia. The FBI has also confirmed Nawfur played a main role in this attack. When the current government came into power, DIG Prasad Ranasinghe was appointed to the Criminal Investigations Department and he was very efficient in his work.
වර්තමාන රජය පත් වූ පසු අපරාධ ප්‍රශ්න දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට නියෝජ්‍ය පොලිස්පති ප්‍රසාද් රණසිංහ මහතා පත් කළා. ඔහු ඊටාම කාර්යක්ෂමව එම කටයුතු සිදු කරනවා. ගරු ඇමතුමනි දැන් මේ වෙනකොට අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ බාරව හිටපු
Honorable Speaker, 3 or 4 leading officers of the CID have already been transferred. When officers engaged in these investigations keep changing, these investigations are hampered. The AG says there is a conspiracy here. We expect an answer from Ali Sabri regarding this conspiracy. When the United States are already filing cases against these suspects, we are waiting on the government.
ඒ පිළිබඳ උත්තරයක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් නීතිපතිවරයා කියන්නේ මේ මොකද්ද මේ කුමන්ත්‍රණය කියන එක පිළිබඳව. දිනෙන් දින මේ විදිහට මේක පස්සට යනකොට ඇමරිකාවේ මේ අයට විරුද්ධව නඩු දාලා තියෙනකොට ගරු ඇමතුමනි අපි මේ ආණ්ඩුව දිහා බලාගෙන ඉන්න විපක්ෂයේ മന്ത്രിවරු හැටියට ඔබතුමාගේ විරෝධය කෙටි කරන්න අපිට ලොකු කලකිරීමක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපිට ලැබෙන තොරතුරු තමයි
We have received information that someone in the Aegis department hid this file for 2 years. I want to ask you if you are conducting investigations regarding such an officer of the Aegis department.
නිලධාරිය පිළිබඳව ඔබතුමාලා විමර්ශනයක් මේ වෙනකොට ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවද කියලා ගරු අලි සබ්‍රි ඇමතුමා.
මම කොහොමද නියෝග දෙන්නේ? මම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ආවේ ගිය අවුරුද්දේ
I cannot give orders. I came to Parliament in August of last year. When that was happening, there was no connection on our part. We don't directly interfere with the process of the Aegis department. We only check their performance. However, the steps taken in this regard will be observed by the Public Services Commission. That is an independent process.
Public Service Commission එක හරහා තමයි ඒක සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. ඒක වෙනම ස්වාධීනව සිදු වෙනවා ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා. බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
In some developing story, the debate on the Port City Special Economic Commission Bill commenced in Parliament today.
The Supreme Court's decision regarding the petition filed against the Port City Special Economic Commission Bill was communicated in Parliament yesterday. According to the decision, 25 clauses of the Port City Special Economic Commission Bill are against the Constitution. The Supreme Court in its decision noted a referendum is required to pass 9 clauses in the Commission Bill. The Supreme Court's decision further notes a 2/3 majority from the Parliament is required to pass clauses that are against the Constitution. Meanwhile, the Cabinet of Ministers met yesterday and decided to include the amendments proposed by the Supreme Court to the Port City Special Economic Commission Bill. Accordingly, the first debate of the Port City Special Economic Commission is being held while the voting will take place tomorrow.
Meanwhile, a protest was held today opposing the Port City Special Economic Commission Bill.
The demonstration, which was organised by the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, was held at the parliamentary roundabout. The Supreme Court determination that was given yesterday cited that this decision must be reached following a referendum. The government tried to secretly pass an illegal bill in Parliament. The Supreme Court determination was able to defeat it to a certain extent. The educated public of this country deserves to know what's being done through the Port City Bill. A public conversation must be held on this.
The death toll due to COVID-19 in the country has increased to 1,015, with 34 more deaths being reported yesterday. The deaths reported yesterday include a 20-year-old male, a resident of Ratnapura, and 2 females aged 38 and 32. They are residents of Ragama and Dematagoda. Other deceased were between 55 and 94 years of age. Meanwhile, 2,478 COVID-19 cases were detected yesterday. This brought the total cases in the island to 147,680. 121,145 people recovered from the virus, while 25,560 are currently under medical care. Why did Basil Rajapaksa, who is chairing 3 presidential task forces, including the Task Force on Economic Revival and Poverty Eradication, leave the country? State Minister Dilum Amunugama expressed the following views in this regard.
There is no crisis within the government. Basil Rajapaksa has planned all activities that need to take place now and has left the country. We will inform the people when the results of his overseas travel are achieved in a few days. There is no requirement to worry about. He has travelled abroad to secure favourable program for our country in these tough times using his influences. If we reveal it, it cannot be fulfilled. Therefore, we will not reveal it.
In international news, the United Arab Emirates plans to offer a 3rd Sinopharm shot to people who have already got 2 doses amid concerns over the efficacy of the vaccine that is being cornerstone of the country's speedy inoculation program.
The UAE's National Emergency Crisis and Disaster Management Authority said an additional supportive dose of the Sinopharm is now available to people who have received the vaccine previously and who have now completed more than 6 months since the 2nd dose. China's Sinopharm group won World Health Organization backing for its vaccine this month, but there are questions on how the shot will be protecting individuals from developing severe COVID-19, might help stop the virus from transmitting and infecting more people. The UAE administered a 3rd dose to a small number of people who didn't develop antibodies after the first 2 Sinopharm shots.
Meanwhile, the New York Attorney General's office says it is investigating the Trump Organization in a criminal capacity.
A spokesman for the state's top prosecutor said the inquiry into Trump's property company was no longer purely civil. A spokesman, Letitia James, has been scrutinizing the ex-Republican president's financial dealings before he took office. The Trumps deny wrongdoing and say the inquiry by Democratic prosecutors is a political vendetta. The spokesperson of the foreign media said, quote, "We have informed the Trump Organization that our investigations into the organization is no longer purely civil in nature. We are now actively investigating the Trump Organization in a criminal capacity along with Manhattan DA, and we have no additional..."
Back at your local news, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa expressed views in regards to the 12th Victory Day commemoration in Parliament today.
As
the opposition, as a Samagi Janamalawege, we are providing our utmost gratitude to the 3 armed forces, police and civil defence force, and also all the people who are involved related to the security in the country. Towards that, as a Samagi Janabalawege, we are prepared through a supplementary estimate to provide all the strength that is required, especially to fulfill the promises that were made by our Prime Minister at the Colombo Fort Railway Station. Let us make the win we accomplished a lasting one with peace. And finally, Honourable Speaker, the entire country accepts the fact that Field Marshal Sat Fonseca was the one who provided leadership at the ground level to this fight. There is no doubt about it.
ඒක ගැන ගෞරවයෙන් ඉතාමත්ම ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා ගරු කතානායකතුමාට
එම සටනේදී මාන දුන් යුද හමුදාවට ආශිර්වාද කිරීම ගැන.
During this fight, I thank the current Prime Minister, who was the President at that time, and the former Defence Secretary, who is the current President of the country, for providing the blessings to the army, of which I was the commander. I am also thankful to the Naval, Air Force, Police and Civil Defence Forces who supported the fight, which we won under the leadership of the army. We fulfilled our job to provide peace to the country and for the people of the North and the East. That is the reason why the people from the North and the East provided support to me during the 2010 election, despite me being the commander of the army.
ජය වේවා කියා මා මේ උතුම් අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Gammadda is shouldering the national responsibility to save the lives of our own people during the COVID-19 pandemic that has engulfed the country. Today, Gammadda was able to donate an advanced ICU ventilator system to the Gampaha hospital.
The State Minister of Primary Health Care, Epidemics and COVID Disease Control, Dr. Sudarshini Fernando-Pulle, requested assistance to face the COVID-19 pandemic. Acting immediately to the request, Gammadda donated a ventilator unit worth 4.6 million rupees to the Gampaha-based hospital today. The unit is manufactured in Sweden. The director of the Gampaha hospital, Dr. Mahinde Illaperuma, accepted the unit.
We thank your organization for coming forward in this manner.
State Minister of Primary Health Care, Epidemics and COVID Disease Control, Dr. Sudarshini Fernando-Pulle, took part in the event. We made a request from the philanthropists to come forward and help in any way possible. We thank Gammadda. As soon as this message was sent out, they reached out to me and took steps to provide an advanced ventilator system to the Gampaha hospital. I thank Gammadda for coming forward to fulfill its responsibility towards the nation. Gammadda is prepared to fulfill its national responsibility continuously during these challenging times. How will this advanced ventilator system be used to treat patients? When lungs are infected, although oxygen is provided in high concentrations, if the blood oxygen levels are not favorable and the patients are critical, those patients will be connected to this advanced ventilator system. A ventilator is a machine that provides mechanical.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, the voice of the people, I'm Martin Satyanesan. You take care and stay safe.